Hello and welcome to the Shiny Things. I've been trying to get my hands on one of these watches for a while and always stopped at the last moment, thinking it will be too big for me. Well, I've got it. It is here. It is big, and I'm quite impressed. Well, almost. Hi and welcome. If you like watches as much as we do, don't forget to subscribe to our channel by hitting that big subscribe button. And if you're already subscribed, thank you and very warm welcome back. In this video we will do our usual checks, dimensions and specifications of the watch, and of course we will go over what we particularly like about it and what we think could have been done better. I will also take a closer look at the movement, and even though we will not be opening the watch, we will definitely put it on the time grapher. But before we begin, let me share with you how this watch landed on my review table in the first place. Getting this watch wasn't as straightforward as usual. After I found it online, I paid about $90 US for it. However, very shortly after that, literally in a few days, the listing and the seller have disappeared, and I pretty much said goodbye to my $90. That is, until a week or so ago the watch turned up on my doorstep. So, since I have this watch with me anyway, I decided to do a review, and I hope you will find it informative. Taking all this into account, however, I don't have a link for this watch, and I will not be putting one in the description, so please don't ask. With all this out of the way, let's get on with the review. As I said in the intro, I'm quite impressed by this watch, especially by its wrist presence. And of course, no point of beating around the bush, this Parnis watch is a very strong homage to Panerai Luminor line of watches. Of course, I'm not putting this $90 homage in line with Panerai watches, which cost $8,000 or more. However, this watch maintains similar overall dimensions and looks. Now I kind of understand the Paneristi following. I'm not surprised that the Panerai is worn by movie stars and athletes. I'm not a doctor, but I wonder if wearing one of those doesn't automatically increase the testosterone level in your blood. Panerai Luminor, of course, was designed for Italian Navy and has normally 300-meter water resistance. Incredible lume, probably one of the best in the business, hence the name Luminor. And since 2005, Panerai introduced and have been using their own in-house movements. Back to this watch. In true Parnis style, this watch came with no box, bubble wrap and stickers. Not that I expected anything else, to be quite honest. Let's take a closer look at the dimensions of this pretty substantial piece. Diameter is just under 44 millimeters. The fixed bezel is 42.5 millimeter in diameter. The height of the watch is just under 17 millimeters. About 1 millimeter of this height is due to the domed crystal. Lug width is 24 millimeters. Lug tip to lug tip is 53.7 millimeters. This might sound a bit on the large side, however, if I measure distance between protruding end links of my Pagani design GMT watch, it is 52.8 millimeters, only 1 millimeter longer. This is the reason that this big watch achieves such a snuggly fit on the wrist. The weight is 131 grams on the supplied leather strap. The leather strap feels okay quality and is padded, which is nice. The leather is a bit stiff though and will need a bit of a breaking in. The strap tapers down to 22 millimeters. The buckle is substantial, 32 millimeters, in line with the overall aesthetics of the watch. There is no push pins. The buckle attachment to the strap, as well as strap attachment to the case, are handled by screws, which would allow for easy replacement of the strap if needed. I think this watch would look excellent on a silicone rubber strap. Here it is on my about 7-inch wrist. There is no minute chaptering, only applied hour indices, which are different from the sausage or baguette type indices, also called sandwich dial, usually used in Panerai watches. The indices are filled with lume, and lume is surprisingly decent, however not long-lasting. As you can see, the 12 and 6 o'clock markers are painted on and also lumed. This watch also has lumed skeletonized hands. There is a small second-hand sub-dial, a power reserve indicator, and a date window. The dial has a three-dimensional waffle-like texture, and the second-hand sub-dial has a subtle sunburst effect. Definitely not a flat chip print, which is nice. The date window at 3 o'clock and the date disc is of the same color as the dial, which is also good. The sub-dial hands for the second and power reserve indicator are also loomed. I will post a loom shot at the end of this video. This watch has a domed mineral crystal, the date window has an inverted cyclope, the magnification is sufficient, and I actually like the inverted cyclope design. There is less risk to scratch it compared to protruding type like on Rolex or Tag Heuer watches. There doesn't seem to be any anti-reflective coating. The watch is still very legible though, even as is. Here it is on a bright sunny day. Moving on to the case, we have a stainless steel construction and a brushed finish case, which tends to hide scratches and scuffs better than the polished one. Horizontal brushing on the flanks of the case and on the fixed bezel. There is a vertical brushing between the lugs, and lugs also have an acceptable at this price point brushed finishing. This watch has a solid case back. The case back is quite flat, which also helps for this watch to sit better on the wrist. This watch declares only 30 meters of water resistance. My guess is that this is due to quality control, which is required to ensure that the case is sealed properly, and also due to the date adjustment push at 8 o'clock, which again will require a proper washers and seals design to be waterproof. We have a crown guard mechanism, which of course also provides a robust crown protection, as well as adds to the overall aesthetics look of the watch. The only issue I have with the crown guard is that it is really flimsy. When it's locked into place, it is okay, but otherwise it doesn't inspire any confidence. Based on my research, this watch is powered by Seagull ST2530 movement. It hacks and winds and has about 40 hours of power reserve. Crown has 2 positions. The date is set by using the pusher at 8 o'clock. This is actually a good Seagull movement, and the accuracy is quite impressive. Here it is in the time grapher. The amplitude is a bit on the low side, but otherwise it looks pretty decent. Now, here is the thing. When I move the watch or give it a small shake, I can hear something rattling inside, possibly the self-winding mechanism, so I'm not sure how long this movement will last. I compare this to another watch with a very similar Seagull movement, and that watch doesn't have the same problem. So this is another quality control issue that I will need to deal at some point. Okay then, so what in my opinion could have been done better on this watch? Well, number 1, lousy water resistance. For a watch that takes its style from a diver, having a 30-meter water resistance is a bit of a letdown. But then again, it is clearly declared, so I definitely knew what I was getting into. Number 2, crystal. I personally think that such a big glass should be sapphire. Having said that, I have been wearing a mineral glass watch for almost 2 years now and is still holding on. And number 3, an overall quality control of this watch. This could definitely be done better. The crown guard is very loose and it doesn't inspire confidence. There is a rattle inside the watch, I suspect the rotor, which means potentially a very limited lifespan. As I noted earlier, I do have another Parnis watch which uses very similar Seagull movement, and it is definitely more refined. So, are Panerai homages your cup of tea? If not, well, then check out our other reviews, and of course, like, subscribe, and as always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.